What is up, awesome dads? Welcome back to the show. Today, we're joined by Evelyn Shaw Corley, the founder of Thrive International Academy, and she's changing education for one and all. Very excited. Evelyn, what's up?
What's up? Hey, awesome dad. Thank you so much for having me today.
Dude, the honor is all mine, Evelyn. It was so cool getting to meet you at the Meta Gather conference, huge conference in DC, lots of small business owners, but no one quite stood out the way that Evelyn did. And
Thank you, Mark.
You just have a way about, we were talking just a moment ago about imposter syndrome, and you're like, I don't know what that is. I just get out there and make it happen,
That's right. I don't have imposter syndrome. I am ready to rock.
Yeah. And it shows. It really does. It shows. It's like you're everywhere at once getting recognition. Nobody does recognition. And I don't mean that in like a self-grandizing. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
it's beautiful.
It's in a way of like, if you're going to build a business, if you're going to grow a business, and impact people in a positive way, you need to get people on board. You need to get credibility, and you do it so wonderfully, really well.
Thank you.
But this show is all about how to be a better dad, how to be an awesome dad. And, part of that is education. It's something that doesn't get talked about enough. We've just gone through what I would call an educational crisis with the pandemic and sending all these 8-year-olds home to learn on Zoom. So why don't you just give us a little bit of background, Evelyn, on the inspiration behind Thrive International Academy? What got you started?
Definitely. Well, hey, dads, I am super excited to be here to tell you my backstory and to let you know why it is that our connection today is so important. So I was in the public school educational space for 12 years. I taught for 12 years, and I taught predominantly in middle school, elementary school, and I did some tutoring at the high school level. And one thing that I noticed is that a lot of moms were actively involved in education, and I wasn't seeing nearly as many awesome dads in education through the years as I would like to see. I have taught everything from special education to gifted education, and I really want to bring light to ways that you can be the best support system ever as an awesome dad. So after I taught, really in my 12th year is where I had the epiphany that things needed to come to a close traditionally for me. I was teaching in an 8th grade classroom, and over half of my 8th graders were reading on a 2nd and 3rd grade level. And this, I have to tell you, was heartbreaking and devastating in every single way possible. So the birth of Thrive International Academy came to be through the understanding that students really learn in a one-to-one format and a one-to-one way. I think it is the visionary change-making format for education. And as an awesome dad, I want you to be an advocate for your learner. And whether you are a public school dad, a homeschool dad, a Montessori dad, an unschooling dad, whatever kind of dad you are awesome. And I want you to play an active role and know that every child, tween, and teen responds well with a one-to-one mentor. And so whatever that looks like, whether it's tutoring, whether it's mentoring, whatever that is for you, I want you to know that you do have a place, and that connecting your learner with an adult who sees them, hears them, and values them is something that will change the trajectory of their lives.
Well said. Well said. We could probably just mic drop right there, but I do want to reinforce something. And I think that's the importance of having a support system. I don't think you could just send your kid to school and just be like, okay, they're good, they're going to learn it all. I think there needs to be some support on the back end. And I'll also say that, I run a couple businesses. I'm a busy guy. It's hard for me to really sit there and be, in the zone where I'm actually, teaching and reading with my kid. The other thing is that's not my expertise. My expertise is not working with a 6-year-old. Right. And so one of the challenges that I had working with my daughters, I would get frustrated. I get frustrated with, what do you mean you can't read this word? You just read it 2 pages ago and now you can't read it. However, I noticed that when I got her in front of actual teachers, like she just blossomed, and now she's an awesome. She's just great. She's reading at a high level. And she's fantastic. So, I mean, I just think that's awesome. How are you finding the teachers, Evelyn, to support and do these one-on-one tutorings?
So my, Thrive story got started through the power of Facebook and making these super quirky, hilarious, just silly videos. And while I found parents that way, I also found teachers that way through Facebook and also through LinkedIn. When you put out the word that you need somebody to work as an independent contractor from home, getting to choose your own hours. And there are so many adults who love being teacher mentors, who love being positive role models for kids. So through Facebook and LinkedIn and friends of friends, that has been the secret sauce for finding the best teachers, not only throughout the United States, but the best teachers in the world. And yes, we have Hindi as a new language being taught in our school. I have to just give a shout out to Mira for that. And we have Fred in the Philippines teaching Japanese. We are so diverse, so loving, and it's really thanks to the interconnectedness of our world. Facebook and LinkedIn have completely been a game changer for me and for finding teachers.
Yeah, super. Obviously very, very powerful. But, so one of the questions or challenges that I have is, it to me, and maybe it's because I'm an old fogey, I'm an old school, but to me, it's getting in person. It's, feeling a pencil, the paper and whatnot. Do you feel like any of that's lost because you're primarily in a remote learning atmosphere? What are the pros and cons of that remote learning atmosphere?
I love that question. And I think that the answer is going to be revolutionary. There is something to be said. I'm holding a pen right now in my hand. There is something to be said. And through this screen, I'm showing you how to hold my pen and how to hold my pencil. I think it takes a combination. I think in all things in life, there is a beautiful balance. I do think that education through one-to-one with the best professional, the best knowledgeable person in the world is where we're going. I don't think that the internet, I don't think that teaching online is going away. I think it's going to be more and more common, but I do think there needs to be that balance because there is something to receiving a hug in person, and especially a hug from an awesome dad. It's the best. There's nothing that's going to replace human personal connection one-to-one. I know through the pandemic, we've learned so much the importance of that human connection, but I want you to open your mind and open your just thought process to the possibilities of what your child can learn when you find the teacher expert, not just in the United States. I'm not sure where all of your listeners are, but not just in the state that you live in, but across the globe, there is an expert who learns that expertise, whether it is coding, whether, again, it's a language, whatever it is. I think there's something extraordinary about finding the teacher leader somewhere in the world, and I like to play connector for these awesome dads.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. There's a lot of single dads out there. There's a lot of dads that mom's not there for whatever reason. And it's freaking hard. It's freaking hard, and I don't want to take anything away from all the single moms out there that are rock stars. But, oftentimes as dads, we feel like we're kind of left out of that conversation, but I can tell you personally that, being a father is probably the most important thing to me. Right. And,
Yes.
and I know that's not the same for every father out there, but it was very life-changing in a way. I was watching Game of Thrones a few months ago during a workout, and there's a scene where, this poor old farmer walks up to Daenerys Stormborn with his little girl who gets killed by one of her dragons. Spoiler alert, there's dragons in the show. And I started bawling uncontrollably. I'm like, what is this salty discharge? What is this? And it's all because being a father is so important, and we want the best for our kids. So again, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, Evelyn. I don't want to steal the show.
Well, I want to applaud you to be in touch with your emotions. That is amazing. Show ownership in that and be true to who you are, because I think that's part of being an amazing human, is being in touch with those emotions and saying, wow, this is a meaningful moment to me. And something that I teach my students and something that I teach parents is to feel your feelings. We don't want to dampen those feelings. We don't want to, sabotage. We don't want to do anything that doesn't allow us to feel our feelings. So props to you. I'm glad you cried.
Yeah, it was, I've always prided myself on not crying. And frankly, I don't know that I ever would, except for having kids and how important my daughter is to me. It's just such a life-changing moment. So I want to kind of walk through a little bit more what this looks like because education is just tremendously important. I'll give you another quick story. I was talking to I speak at a local underprivileged high school occasionally and in their financial class. And one of the first questions I ask when I go in there is, who knows what a credit score is? No kidding, Evelyn. I've never had a kid tell me they knew what a credit score was. Not one.
Wow.
These are juniors and seniors.
I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad you're getting in there and helping them. Yes. I'm not surprised because I know how antiquated our school system can be in a traditional sense. So I'm not surprised that they don't know, but thank you for being one of the humans that explains it to them.
Yeah, I try because it's important. If you don't know, like reading, basic reading, and I know that that's a problem in the school systems too. I don't have the data in front of me, but kids are just not reading at a high level.
I know. I definitely know. And if we can do those interventions at a younger age and even through middle school and high school, learning to read, having that ability to have literacy is going to change your life. And dads, I want you to intervene as early as you possibly can, because reading and writing is the foundation for everything. It's your resume. It's, like Mark and I were talking about, it's networking. It's when you meet someone, it's what they think of you and how they think of you because of the way that you speak, because of the way that you write and the way that you present yourself. And we want our kids to have every possible opportunity. So giving them a foundation of reading and writing and math is so very important.
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial. So where does Thrive come in? How does that operate, right? So I'm a dad, I got my kid in, let's say public school, whatever, they're going there 5 days a week, they're coming home. How does Thrive International Academy, how does that factor into day-to-day life, weekly life? How does it work?
Definitely. So there are multiple areas and different styles that we offer for different families. For homeschooling families, we offer a private academy, full-time or a la carte. If you're a dad who has your kiddos, tweens, or teens at home. If you're a public school dad, we offer tutoring and we offer mentoring. And I would say every student receives the interventions and support that they need, the number of days that they need. And that is in accordance with what the teacher decides and what dad decides. So it looks different. So private academy, full-time and a la carte, tutoring, mentoring, special education advocacy dads. If you have a special needs learner, I cannot express the importance of hiring an advocate to explain what in the world an individualized educational plan is and what support systems in place you can have set forth for your learner in the public schools. We don't know what we don't know. And so it's worth, you don't have to hire an attorney. It's worth getting a special education advocate to really support you and help you dissect what all of that paperwork means and what all of the jargon means so that it's not Greek.
Yeah. I like that word. You don't know what you don't know, because it's been a long time since I was, in first and second grade. But Evelyn, hiring a private tutor sounds expensive. What's the actual, what's the cost to entry? What's the barrier to entry? What is it? Like, in a practical word, you might I'm in, right? I want my kid to be a rock star. How do I get my kid in, and what's the cost?
Sure. That's a great question. So there's no cost to join. It's cost per session. It's cost per session. Our elementary school sessions are our least expensive. They're $45 an hour. We're priced like Target. We're priced like Target. We are not Walmart, love Walmart, but we are priced like Target so that we are affordable to many, many families. Middle school, 55, high school, 65. And we serve college students as well. Those are our tutoring prices. And we would love nothing more than you guys to join us.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's amazing to me the things that we invest in without investing in in the most important things, right? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But honestly, if you're a dad that's listening to this show right now, the Awesome Dad Show, you're probably in the top 1% of dads that are trying to make a difference that matters to. So I, really, really proud and appreciative to be here. Let's talk a little bit more, Evelyn, about, this individualized education plan, right? Because I would assume that I can't just put my kid into one class or one tutoring session, like they're done. And again, I'm asking out of ignorance here, how many courses, how many classes do I need my child to be in before I start to see a very noticeable result?
Yes. So that answer is going to really vary on the kiddo. It's going to really, really vary. There are some students who just need a few sessions. They just need to clear something up that maybe was lost in translation along the way. There are some students who need interventions for years, and that's okay too. We have one student who is working through high school, and we are surviving through math. It is, this is not a situation where we are in love with math. We are getting through the math experience so that we can graduate high school. Now we have other students who say, hey, I want to learn coding. We have other students who essentially the answer is it depends, and it depends upon what your goals are. I believe in being a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner myself. I have strengths, I have weaknesses, and I believe that something I'm going to say that's a little bit surprising perhaps for you guys is to play into the strengths of your child. Yes, we want to support them where they struggle, but we also want to shine a light on their strengths. And if there's something that they're interested in, especially growing up, these are the foundational years. This is when you're figuring out who you are. And if somebody wants to paint, if your child wants to dance, if your child wants to sing, if your child wants to build a fort, whatever they want to do, play into that because it's really important. And these years don't last forever, and you don't want to lose the magic and lose the essence of what makes your kiddo themselves.
Yeah, so something I learned very early on is that they grow quick. And I remember back when I was a kid, I loved going to ballparks where you got to crawl through the tubes and kind of go exploring,
Yes.
It's only fun for a few years. And then then it's, you gotta get in there when you can. One of the things that I'm also really curious about, Evelyn, is the metaverse in virtual reality. How do you, and we're kind of speculating a little bit unless you have something practical to give me here, but where do you think the metaverse, virtual reality, where do you think that plays into the education experience over the next, let's say, decade?
So let me just tell you, the metaverse is not going away, dads. It's so awesome. It's coming. Well, it's actually here. It's actually here. And we do some of our teaching in the metaverse, which I think is one of the reasons why I was able to win Meta's 2022 Changemaker. I think they like that. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's so cool. So if you like virtual reality and you want to have mindfulness mentoring by a campfire, that's something you can do from your living room. You can travel through a portal to Paris and learn history, learn archaeology, learn all of the things through the metaverse. Companies are having meetings in the metaverse and students. And I just had a meeting with a parent who said, this is amazing for my child with a physical disability. This is amazing for my child with autism, with sensory issues. So the metaverse is here. Don't fear it. Get an Oculus and let's rock it out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I love the Oculus virtual reality. It is like mind blowing. And I was a gamer for many years, but it's such a, it's hard to explain it. There's a physiological response that you get when you put on those goggles. And you're right. It's like actually entering a portal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's amazing. So my husband and I went to the Van Gogh exhibit in Atlanta, and we had that experience of entering into virtual reality and seeing where Van Gogh lived and seeing his paintings come to life. And it changes your life story, being able to immerse yourself in the story of someone else. I love it. And I definitely don't want, I know we hear things like the metaverse and it's triggering for some people. I get it. But it's not going anywhere. It's going to become interwoven into the way we do business and the way we do school.
100%. I was actually talking about this with on another podcast I run, NFTs Made Simple. A little bit earlier today. And the amount of time that we're spending in these digital worlds has doubled over the past decade. It was like three hours a day back in 2012. And now we're up to, over 6 hours a day in digital worlds. It ain't going anywhere.
It's not.
Yeah. And kids are, I think, like how many kids do you see that are on tablets at age 2?
Absolutely. You see it in the restaurants all the time. You see it in the back seat of the car. You see it. It is so prevalent. And so I think knowing that it's integrated into life and making it something that's safe and fun and enjoyable, we're in the space age. Here we go.
Although I will say, and no judgment-free zone. I'm not here to judge other dads, but you got to be careful with that time. Right. I know it's really easy to be at the restaurant and be like, I just want a few minutes to myself. I'm going to put my kid in front of the tablet, but don't miss those experiences because they matter. And I think that the attention that we give our kids matters a heck of a lot more than we give it credit for,
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Those moments are sacred. I'm so glad you said that, Mark.
Yeah. And listen, I got a tablet. I got these VR goggles up here too. So I'm not like against digital media, but it's a supplement, right? It's not a replacement for what we do as dads. But I do want to go a level deeper in there, right? As far as how you're using the metaverse now. So are you telling me that through your company, I can get the Oculus Rift goggles and I can actually get tutoring for my kids in the metaverse today? Is that possible?
Yes, it is. The metaverse that we use is from spatial.io, and I have partnered with a company called You Think Indigo, youthinkindigo.com, the letter U, and they have trained our teachers to teach in the metaverse. So yes, if you want to do that with or without an Oculus, yes, you could do that today.
That is really cool. What does that experience look like for a kid putting on the goggles? And you said it's through spatial eye. What is that experience like?
So it is completely, I'm trying to describe something that's so difficult to describe because you put on an Oculus and you're into a portal into a different land. It just, you can't see your feet, you can't see your hands. It's completely, it's just this transformative experience that is very difficult to put into words, but it transports you and sends you into a place that you couldn't be in your living room. It can take you anywhere in the world or anywhere that exists in the imagination of someone. It's magical. I'm so excited.
So yeah, this new world of the metaverse and learning and education, very, very interesting to me. And I just love what you're doing with the Thrive International Academy. And listen, dads, it's definitely worth checking out. So you can go to workwiththrive.com. Right? Workwiththrive.com.
Yes. Workwiththrive.com. And we are so excited to meet you. So excited to work with you. And I cannot wait. So don't hesitate, guys. Reach out.
Yep. Do it. Do it right now. Go to workwiththrive.com and check it out. I think you'll be very interested. So, Evelyn, before I let you go, we have to go through the rapid fire. You're going to have to do it. We have to
I'm ready. I'm ready. Bring it.
All right. strap in your seatbelt and let's rock it. So first question here for you, Evelyn. What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Scream. I don't watch scary movies, so we're going to have to go back to the 90s when I watched Scream with Neve Campbell. Classic.
Great. You got to love Scream. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Paris, France.
Why Paris?
Why Paris? Because it's romantic and magical, and the Eiffel Tower is there, and delicious food, and it's something that I feel drawn to. So absolutely Paris, or Nice, France, which is also magical. So somewhere in France.
Love it. So let's say you're on your way over to France. You walk up and you're about to sit in your seat. Who would you want to sit next to on that airplane flight? If you could sit next to anybody.
Ooh, hands down. My husband. I know that it could be anybody in the whole wide world, and I know that it sounds cheesy, but Alexander Corley is hot, and I want him in that seat next to me.
Alexander, it looks like you got a keeper here. So I got bad news for you. You've landed in France. Something terrible happened, and you find yourself on death row. Sorry, something bad happened. What do you eat for your last meal?
Ooh. Okay, well, first of all, it's very unfortunate that something bad happened. I'm saddened here. I did want to stay in Paris or Nice for a super, super long time, but I love seafood. So if I'm going to have to go and this is the end, then let's start off with some raw oysters. Let's go ahead and make that happen. And then I'm feeling a steak. Like, let's just go ahead and have a medium rare steak and a baked potato with some butter and some sour cream. Let's do it. And then let's follow it up. If it's my last meal, let's have gelato, please.
Dig it. I mean, it sounds like you're on the right track here, and it's getting close to dinner time, so I'm getting hungry. Evelyn, if you had the chance to travel to Mars, would you go?
Of course I would. Of course I would. Hold me back. I can't wait until this is just a common part of our life. I am down. I am so down to traveling anywhere in space that we possibly can. And I want to meet all of the creatures and do all of the things and just have that be interspersed with our way of life. Count me in. And if you're going to Mars, call me. I want to go.
I like that snap call. Most people have to think about it. Evelyn's like, yep, sign me up.
Yep, I'm there. I'm totally there. I'm down.
Sign me up, Bezos. Last question for you here, Evelyn. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what would you say?
I would say you are beautiful, you are worthy, and fall in love with yourself first. I would definitely say that.
I love that. Great message, great product, great person. Dudes, guys, awesome dads. Make sure you go to workwiththrive.com. Give your kid what they need. They're worth it. Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you.